Good afternoon again, everyone. It's archivist David Thomas at the Cornwall Record Office here in Truro. In our session of David's Dazzling documents, we've quite often featured older documents that go back many centuries into the treasure house that we have here in our collections. Today, and to celebrate Women's History Month, we're having a look at one of the more modern characters represented in our collections, someone who is Cornish, but someone who is a great artist. On the table, we have an album, one of two in our collections that were created by this lady and only recently deposited with us here in the record office. And this is an album of drawings showing the benches in the Church of the Holy Trinity at Pen Ponds, which were installed between 1929 and 1934. But Betty Rule, the subject of our little chat today, was born in Poole near Camborne and Redruth in 1920. And she had a great interest in artists, and in fact in the 1930s when she left school, she cycled to art classes at Redruth in the company of famous St Ives School artist and sculptor Sven Berlin. But she was interested in art and also in wildlife and wildflowers. But in this book, which is an absolutely incredible record of all the benches in that church, she made it her job in the 1970s and 1980s to record sheets with representative pictures of all of these bench ends, which are still in the church there today. And the feature of the album in which she excelled, and it's borne out her work, was the borders of these images, which are all completely different in every single page of the book. I'll just have a look at a few of them to give you an example of material that she worked on. Her skill as a draftswoman was second to none. And in fact, after the Second World War, she worked in the offices of the female draftswoman in Cornwall, working at that time. So if we just turn on a little bit more, we can see some more of the artwork. This one is illustrating All Saints with palms and crowns. And the detail of the carved benches, which are in the church and carved in 3-inch thick oak, is absolutely stunning. And we go on a bit more. Here's one with, for example, poppies and flowers, brilliant colours and all completely different. We have wonderful purple and green and blue and red. And this is to do with the Passion of Christ and St Margaret, which features in the poppies. Also, we've got St Matthew, the publican. And towards the end, the colours get better as the book goes on, actually. Here we've got Matthias, the apostle, and we've got gold, yellow and red borders on this particular record. She was quite a character, and in fact, in 1958, she bought her own steam engine, Queenie, which resided down at Trystwithian Downs in Camborne. As I said earlier, she was quite often interested in wildflowers. And in this second album, which came into us very recently, she recorded the wild flowers and plants that she saw around Cornwall, but more particularly in the area around Camborne. For example, here we've got a tansy, Trystwithian Downs, Helen's School End. She's very precise, and recorded in August 1978. This album has suffered a little bit from damage, but it is still in pretty good condition. Here, for example, we've got some gorse growing at Trystwithian Downs, and then some work. And nothing like this, I think, is represented in our collections. So here we've got a Montbretia, Trystwithian Downs, 14th of September, 1980. She also did small little vignette sketches, which were possibly for working up into later projects. And this, for example, on the table here is her sketch of the pipe organ that was in the former Chilly Road Methodist Church at Iluggan Highway. And this is actually the organ that the Cornish musician Thomas Merritt, composer of the Christmas carols, played on. And last on the table, we've got a photograph of Betty when she, right in the centre here, when she was made a bard for services to Cornwall at the Gorset in Bodmin in 1979. A lot of her work actually ended up in quite important places. One of her specialities was providing commemorative tablets and framed drawings for people who were retiring or who celebrated special jubilees and anniversaries. Some of them were even presented to members of the British royal family when they visited Cornwall. So today, in Women's History Month, let's remember Betty and the contribution that women have made to art and culture in Cornwall and to wider life. So well done, Betty.